I was a teenager when I got married, and I've been married a little over 7 years, and I have 3 amazing kids, so let's get into it. I moved out of my house and in with roommates the fall semester after I graduated from high school, and honestly I was just super focused on my studies. I was not super interested in dating anyone. I had broken up with my high school boyfriend, and I just was ready to take some time to hang out with my roommates and to study and get stuff done in college. I had a job, so I was working quite a bit, and I was studying to try to become a nurse, and so I was working really hard so I could keep my grades up so that I could get into nursing school. I had been going on some casual dates just for fun, nothing serious. We'd just go to dinner, or I'd go out with some friends and I'd meet people, but I just never wanted to pursue anything really. And as I mentioned, I was studying to become a nurse, and so I was working as a nursing assistant at this time, a CNA, so that I could get experience to put on my resume for nursing school. If you know anything about being a CNA or working in healthcare in general, healthcare is not really a job that you want to just get off work and like go out for a night out. You would want to shower, change clothes, get ready, the whole works. There was one night that my roommate had texted me while I was at work, and she told me she was going on a date with this guy that she'd been talking to, and his roommate wanted to go, and she was trying to set us up. And I said, no, I'm at work. I'm not going to get off until like 10 o'clock. And obviously I'm not going to be in a place of being able to go on a date right after getting off my shift here. I'm going to need to shower and get cleaned up, and that'll be really late. And so just find somebody else to go with you. Now at this point, I am 18 years old. My roommate was pretty persistent, and she was really nice. And she said, no, we'll wait for you, and I'll pick out your outfit so you can change really fast when you get home, and I'll have everything ready, and I'll help you get all ready to go, and it'll be no problem, I promise. And I finally agreed and said, okay, fine. After I get off work, I'm willing to go with you on this date with this guy that I don't know. Obviously, I was not expecting anything out of this because it was a blind date. I did not know the person. He was roommates with the person that my roommate was talking to at the time, and I didn't really know anything about him except for the things that my roommate had told me. So fast forward to the end of that night, I get off work and I go home, and she had kept her promise, and she had laid out my clothes for me, and she helped me put on makeup and do my hair and get all ready to go. And then the guys came to our apartment to pick us up, and that was the first time I had ever seen Matt in person. I thought he was pretty good looking. Since we had gotten a late start on the date, there was not a lot that we could do. We drove around to a couple different places to go do an activity, but they were all full or it was too close to closing. So we honestly ended up just talking most of the time for that day, and that was honestly great for us because I was able to get to know him pretty well. The conversation we had that night, I knew that I liked him somewhat and I would be interested in seeing him again. But I wasn't very forward, and I didn't ask for his number, and he didn't ask for mine, and we both went on our separate ways. I do remember talking to my roommate after we got done with the date and telling her that I thought he was something special and I was interested in seeing him again, and she was like, why didn't you ask for his number? And I kind of regretted not asking him for his number, but I didn't want to be too forward. A couple of days went by, and he slid into my DMs on Instagram and started talking to me. And he finally asked me for my number, and we started texting. And eventually he called me and asked me to go out with him one-on-one. Our first date was the group blind date, which was like on a Friday or a Saturday, and this next date was not that long after. It was the next Tuesday, so it was only a few days in between the dates. And I remember being so excited to go on this date with him. My roommates helped me pick out my outfit. They helped me make sure that I was feeling confident to go on the date. And when I went on the date, it was so amazing. He had listened and remembered things that I had said on the first date about some of the things that I liked and had incorporated those things into the date. And it was just so special. And it made me feel so important to him that he would remember those things that I said and that he would incorporate them into the date and make me feel like he was really listening. And also he used a coupon for the dinner on our first date, and I really thought that was kind of good. Some people would think that's a red flag, but I was like, I love a man that is good with finances. Ironically, throughout these dates, he saw a picture of me with my sister at her wedding, and he said, oh, you know her? I was really good friends with the guy she married when I was in junior high. I was like, know her? She's my sister. Well, what a small world that was. And so I was able to talk to my brother-in-law about him and kind of get some more information about him. And I knew that I wanted to keep seeing him if he was going to ask me out again. But again, I didn't want to be too forward. I was super focused on my studies. I was not really interested in being in a relationship. So I thought I would just let things play out. And if he was interested in keeping in contact with me, then we would continue seeing each other. And if not, then I would let it go. But we kept calling and texting and seeing each other again and again and again. And we both started to fall in love. He was unlike any guy I had ever dated before, and he made me feel so special and so valued, and he treated me with so much respect and kindness. Eventually, over the course of dating, he told me that he was no longer interested in dating any other girl and was asking me how I was feeling and if I was interested in not dating anyone else either, and if me and him should start dating exclusively. Little did he know I had really not been seeing anybody else for a couple of weeks at that point and was mostly just interested in seeing him. And so we started dating exclusively, and I got to meet his family and he got to meet mine, and it was so special to me to be able to meet all of his siblings. He comes from a pretty big family, and he had lots of nieces and nephews, and he has lots of siblings, and it was just so fun for me to see kind of where he came from and where he grew up and get to know him more in that way. People are probably going to think this sounds insane, but after a few months of dating each other, we did start talking about what it would look like if we were to possibly get married in the future. Marriage and family life is something that both of us valued, and we both knew that in the future we both wanted to get married, whether that was to each other or whoever. We didn't want to rush things, but we both knew that marriage was important, and we both knew that we loved each other. The first time he told me he loved me was actually kind of an embarrassing story, but that's a story for a whole nother day. At this point, I'm now 19, and Matt knew it was important to me that he talked to my dad and got permission to marry me. It was just like a traditional thing that I wanted to have happen for me, and so he set up a little lunch with my dad, and he met up with him. And my dad agreed, and a couple months later, Matt proposed. And later that year, we were married, and I was 19. I know some people are going to think this is insane, and I don't care because this is my story and it's what worked for me and for our family. And we've been married over 7 years and we have 3 beautiful sons. If you've never heard of Jake Scott the singer, you should look him up, but he has a song called Married Young, and in it he says, "Why would I take it slow when I know I found the one?" And that's definitely how I feel because I knew that he was the one and the person that I wanted to spend forever with. And I honestly have no regrets about getting married at 19. And I still accomplished all the things that I wanted to do. I finished college, I became a nurse, I got a job, I did all the things that I planned on doing. But I just did it with the person I loved the most.